Millions of people flock to Las Vegas every month to spend their time and money on the iconic Las Vegas Strip. But if you're a Las Vegas local, you know there is so much more to experience here in Southern Nevada. I'm Danny Beckstrom. Welcome to How to Vegas, your weekly guide to the locals Las Vegas. In the next 30 minutes, we'll tell you about places and things that us locals can enjoy, like a museum holding lost Las Vegas treasures, where you can experience the wonders of the natural world all in one place, and the best restaurants to make a reservation at this week. Let's get started. Dice, playing cards, matchbooks, every Las Vegas casino has them. But venture off the Strip and you'll see those treasures in a way you won't see anywhere else. 13 Action News' Amy Abdel-Sayed takes you inside the museum dedicated to items long lost and forgotten.
Step into the Office of Collecting and Design in Las Vegas and you'll find drawers labeled metal bits and teeth, all meant to be opened and explored.
My name is Jessica Orrick. I'm a filmmaker, animator, and artist, and I'm the curator behind the Office of Collecting and Design.
As Jessica describes it, the museum is a collection of collections, showcasing lost and forgotten items.
It's full of collections that are unusual, like dice you can't play with, or incomplete playing card decks, empty matchboxes.
On a wall in the reading room, missing doll shoes hang on display near a set of small empty frames and tiny little spoons.
This tiny spoon collection was sort of a mistake. My entire family, for whatever reason, thought that my husband collected tiny spoons for years.
On the same wall is a collection of falcon feet.
I lived in Germany for 4 years and I worked as a falconer's apprentice. And when I finally started hunting with the goshawk, every time the goshawk would kill a bird, I would keep one of its feet.
There are hands too.
I love this one in particular because it has the actual fingerprints of whoever's hand this is.
Some objects are bizarre or one of a kind, others so ordinary.
But then when you curate them together, they have just infinite amounts of charm, to me at least.
Jessica has been collecting things for decades.
When I was 12 years old, my aunt gave me some dice that had belonged to my great-grandmother, and that was what really kicked it off.
Many of the objects come from the penny jar at flea markets.
They're the things that nobody really feels like they can charge for, but they don't want to just throw them away.
She also likes to find little treasures while traveling, something she does a lot. Her foreign gum collection takes up 2 drawers.
This one's my favorite.
Ooh, do you remember where that's from?
It's somewhere, I want to say Qatar, maybe?
Visitors are encouraged to open the drawers and play and touch with the objects.
Everything in here just has a previous life, and those lives tie to everyone, that comes through here. It's a really special experience to get to share that with people.
You can find the museum inside New Orleans Square. It's free to check out, but you do need an appointment. Learn more on ktnv.com/art. For How to Vegas, I'm Amy Abdel-Sayed.
From housekeeper to headliner, in this week's Vegas Spotlight, Lorena Perel, the lead singer in Fantasy, shares her story. From growing up listening to mariachi to singing on her lunch breaks and now performing nightly on the Las Vegas Strip.
Hi, I'm Lorena Perel, and I perform nightly at the Luxor in the show called Fantasy. And here is my story. When I first discovered that I knew I could sing, when I believed in myself, was 19. But rewind a bit, I would just sing at home, and my parents said I was a great singer, and my family, but they're being, you don't know if they're being really sweet because they're your parents, or you're really good. So my dad bought me a karaoke machine, and that's when I started getting a little confident. My first performance that was not my family was in the nursing home that I cleaned as a housekeeper. I was a professional housekeeper with my mother in San Francisco in a Christian nursing home, very harmonious place, and I always felt good working there, and it was very peaceful. But that's where I started performing on my lunch breaks for the people that were staying there. I was 21, of course. I went to Vegas with a girlfriend from high school, and Gina and I just found that picture of myself standing in front of the Luxor while I was still a housekeeper in San Francisco. And meanwhile, I'm standing right in front of the Luxor because I thought it was so cool. And now our billboard fantasy is right above that. I don't take it for granted what I've been through. As soon as I just forget and need a reminder, like, this is where you come from, this is what you did, and now you're here. Listening to mariachi music, that's what I first listened to. That's all I listened to. First things my ears that I heard was mariachi music. It wasn't Disco Inferno or Prince or Madonna. I grew up listening to that. That's my heart. That's what I love to sing. And I do it in fantasy. Anita's amazing about that. I do that on Cinco de Mayo, Mexican Independence Day, because she loves to, support. Linda Ronstadt was my biggest inspirations, and Mariah. So I started trying to mimic these people and try to sound like them. I would go from country to rock to pop to opera, Phantom of the Opera. I mean, I try everything I think that's why I'm so versatile, but that doesn't mean I'm great at opera either. I got discovered on a cruise ship. That's how I, from housekeeper to like a professional singer overnight, just being on vacation on a cruise ship. And most people know that story, and I'm very grateful for Carnival. My mom always believed in me, and I think if she and my dad didn't push me to go sing on that cruise ship, I'm not sure if I'd be here today. The first time I auditioned for Fantasy was in 2005. I was on vacation, so I was looking for a full-time job so I can afford to find a place to live there. And she told me to keep auditioning. And next thing you know, 2010, when I was in another show at the Hilton with my husband, who I met at the show, Ray John, guitar player. The show had closed, and I reached out to Anita, and she was having auditions at the time. And I showed up and auditioned in front of the executives, the president, Anita, and I got the gig. And that was just one of the best days of my life. I left Fantasy in 2013. That was one of the biggest, hardest decisions I ever had to make. It was so hard. I cried. Anita was so understanding because I had been offered a job that I just couldn't turn down. And it was to play my dream role of Sandy in the musical Grease. But not only was it just the musical Grease, it was an arena tour traveling all over Europe. So it was a really difficult decision. But I'm so grateful because I was able to return at the right time, and she happened to have a position available, and I'm back.
We'll be back with more of How to Vegas after the break. Welcome back to How to Vegas, your weekly look at what there is to see, do, and taste right here in Las Vegas. For more on things to do around the valley, visit ktmv.com/things to do. This week on Vegas Eats, OffTheStrip.com editor Melinda Sheckels shares the must-eats and drinks around Las Vegas.
Hi, this is Melinda Sheckels, and this is Vegas Eats on How to Vegas. And this week we're bringing you some big news coming from New York City to Las Vegas. Peter Luger's Steakhouse, the legendary Brooklyn institution since 1887, is going to be making its Las Vegas debut coming at the end of 2022. It's going in Caesar's Palace. It's going there adjacent to another famous restaurant, Mr. Chow from Beverly Hills. So Peter Luger is known for their steak and their steakhouse specialties, including their incredible burger. The Peter Luger legacy kicked off in many years ago, 135 years ago, and this is their first expansion in the US in more than 60 years. They recently opened a location in Tokyo. So Peter Luger is known for its hand-selected USDA prime meat and steaks, incredible cuts there, and they are dry-aged on site. So very simple menu, steaks, burgers. Interested to see what they bring to Las Vegas and if they switch up that legendary selection. So congrats to Peter Luger. Excited to have you coming to Las Vegas. Now, if you're looking for a great spot to have breakfast or some coffee, you gotta check out Baguette Cafe. One of my favorites here locally. They are, again, locally owned. Chef Olivier there really has an incredible selection of quiches, pastries, and my favorite thing, the French ham sandwich. So very, very simple. It's French ham on a baguette with a little bit of spicy mustard and pickles. Fantastic thing if you like French ham sandwiches there. They also do quiches of the day. They have an incredible selection of quiches that come out, as well as pastries and coffees. They have 2 locations here in Las Vegas, one on Eastern and one on Sunset. Highly recommend you check this out. Great local business there. Now, if you're in the mood to do a little pickup, take out, you got to try Cina Poblano's new takeout menu. So they are doing a very special takeout packs for 2 people, $45. You can choose from a couple different selections there. Cina Poblano is the hybrid Mexican Chinese restaurant at Cosmopolitan from Chef Jose Andres. So you can choose a menu that mixes both Chinese and Mexican. So you get a selection of noodles and tacos, and as well as some take-home margaritas. Or you can do their taco special, or you can do a Chinese special. So depending on what you're feeling like, you've got the whole selection there. You can check out their menu for more details on all of the good bites from Cina Poblano at the Cosmopolitan by Chef Jose Andres. This has been Melinda Sheckels for Vegas Eats on How to Vegas, and tune in next week for all of the dining news in Las Vegas and where to make your next reservation. Thank you.
We'll be back with more of How to Vegas after the break. Welcome back to How to Vegas, your weekly look at what there is to see, do, and taste right here in Las Vegas. For more on things to do around the valley, visit ktmv.com/things to do. Let's go out to the movies. I'm supposed to sing that part, but I'll spare you this week. So instead, let's send it to Josh Bell with the latest movies and TV shows featuring our city and this week's Starring Las Vegas.
I'm Josh Bell with a look at the latest Vegas connections on screen. First up is the reality show Finding Magic Mike, streaming on HBO Max. Finding Magic Mike spotlights the Magic Mike Live stage show in Las Vegas at the Sahara, which was in turn inspired by the Magic Mike movies, starring Channing Tatum as a male exotic dancer. The reality show takes a group of so-called ordinary guys and puts them through training to become Magic Mike Live dancers, helping them find new personal confidence along the way. The entire season was filmed locally at the Sahara, and the various competitions and challenges highlight the time-honored Vegas art form of the striptease show. The entire first season of Finding Magic Mike is now streaming on HBO Max. Crime thriller American Sicario, now available for video-on-demand rental, showcases Las Vegas without ever mentioning Las Vegas, which proves an able stand-in for the story's Mexico setting. Danny Trejo co-stars in the story of an American-born cartel boss in Mexico, who faces attacks from rivals as law enforcement closes in on him. It's an impressive demonstration of the versatility of Las Vegas and Nevada as a filming location. That's American Sicario, now on VOD. Also available for video-on-demand rental is The Scary of 61st, the directorial debut from actress and semi-controversial podcaster Dasha Nekrasova, who grew up in Las Vegas and graduated from the Las Vegas Academy of the Arts. The Scary of 61st is set in New York City, where a pair of aimless slackers move into a too-good-to-be-true Manhattan apartment that they soon discover was previously owned by billionaire sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. The bizarre horror movie is deliberately shocking and offensive, but it's also a distinctive and memorable filmmaking debut. That's The Scary of 61st, now on VOD. Also on VOD, as well as streaming for free on Tubi, is The Immortal Wars Rebirth, the latest installment in local filmmaker Joe Lujan's Ravage Reign superhero universe. Lujan has created an intricate Marvel-style universe on an indie budget, and Rebirth is the third movie in the Immortal Wars series, set in a dystopian future that's a bit Hunger Games, a bit X-Men. Rebirth takes place alongside the second Immortal Wars movie, introducing new superheroes and fleshing out the origins of some of the characters. That's The Immortal Wars Rebirth on VOD and Tubi. For more movie talk from me, check out Awesome Movie Year, the podcast I co-host with comedian Jason Harris at awesomemovieyear.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
We'll be back with more of How to Vegas after the break.
Isn't it time to step up your dining? This weekend, enjoy a unique culinary pop-up inside the Bellagio.
For 3 nights only, Harvest Restaurant welcomes celebrity chef brothers Brian and Michael Voltaggio. It's Voltaggio at the Bellagio. The restaurant is known for its fresh seasonal ingredients. Get a taste as the brothers take over the menu with some of their favorites this Friday night through Sunday. Dive into dishes like these that celebrate the duo's Italian heritage with a nod to their American culinary roots. And it's getting bluesy on Friday night over at the Sand Dollar Lounge on Spring Mountain. Billy Ray Charles hits the stage at 10 p.m., playing everything from blues to Motown. This little joint has become a favorite of locals. If quirky craft cocktails and live music are your thing, you must check it out.
For the full list of 13 things, head to our website, ktnv.com. Have a great week.
Welcome back to How to Vegas, your weekly look at what there is to see, do, and taste right here in Las Vegas. For more on things to do around the valley, visit ktnv.com/things to do. Las Vegas is known for constantly reinventing itself, not for keeping its history around. But one place continues to hang on to history and houses everything around us. 13 Action News' Jordan Gartner shares the natural wonders on display at Vegas' own Natural History Museum.
In a town that's always changing, it's nice we can all take a step back and appreciate the natural world of where we live. The Las Vegas Natural History Museum is celebrating 30 years on Las Vegas Boulevard, and it continues to allow visitors to learn while taking a step back in time.
We are celebrating our 30th anniversary still. We were incorporated July 12th, 1991. We started as a really small museum founded by a group of volunteers. And today we're a state and federal repository. We're accredited by the American Alliance of Museums, which only 6% of museums in the US are. We're a Smithsonian affiliate, and we have 40,000 square feet of exhibits that range from ancient Egypt to dinosaurs to Africa.
You'll feel like a world traveler during your visit, discovering dinosaurs, marine life, and ancient Egypt.
We really enjoy taking people on a trip to see the wonders of the world whenever they're here. We also have prehistoric mammals as well as dinosaurs, which is always a crowd favorite, ancient Egypt, a working paleontology lab, an early man exhibit.
And of course, Nevada is proudly on display at the museum, as visitors of all ages can get to know and experience our desert landscape, including some items that have been buried for some time.
Wild Nevada exhibit features different flora and fauna from within 100 miles of the museum itself. One of the treasures that we have here is our paleontology lab. So we actually are a state and federal repository for Nevada, and when we were established as such, we were able to bring home Nevada's fossils that had been in storage in other states. So you can come into our lab and see what folks are working on and see those ties to our local area.
The Natural History Museum has been a part of the Las Vegas community for 3 decades, thanks to volunteers and its strong connection with the community.
Everything that you see here is created by the community through community fundraising and also through donations. So we've been really fortunate having a couple of foundations like the Ingolstadt Foundation or the Gary Prim family donate to make these exhibits possible, but it's also grant funding and individual donors who just love this museum.
And not only can visitors view the different artifacts and exhibits, but the museum prides itself in being able to teach those who visit.
We focus on lifelong learning here. So we really develop activities and workshops that are focused on families. So bring your children. Like I said, we've got 40,000 square feet of air-conditioned space for the summertime, heated space in the wintertime, but we also have fun hands-on activities that everyone can participate in to really inspire a love and appreciation of the natural world, the sciences, and ourselves.
A team of 20 helps bring the museum and its exhibits to life, along with several volunteers who have been behind the museum since its start.
It's a variety of folks that have donated over the years. Actually, our founding executive director, Marilyn Gillespie, just retired this past July after we marked our 30th anniversary. And she was one of the original volunteers that had started the museum. And so in celebration of her legacy here, we were looking back through some old photos and things like that. And literally, she was the driving force for this museum. We have been very fortunate to have such a welcoming community, and a community that really wants a natural history museum. We are small but mighty and very volunteer based, but we have about 20 staff members, and that's it to make all of this happen. We do, of course, work with some contractors as well, but a lot of us wear different hats and make sure that every donation that comes to the museum, every item that's donated is cared for beautifully, and that we're good stewards of the investment that the community is making in us.
Las Vegas Boulevard is full of entertainment and lights, but its history is not forgotten, also on the boulevard.
We are very proud to be down here in the Cultural Corridor in Ward 5. We have really strong relationships with our neighbors, the Neon Museum up the street, and then the Historic Mormon Fort National Park right next door. So literally, we are the history of Vegas right here.
Reporting, Jordan Gartner, 13 Action News.
Thanks for watching How to Vegas. If you missed any part of this week's program, just hit the back button on your remote, scroll down until you see KTNV Digital Exclusives. There you'll find this show and all of our dedicated streaming content. Stay tuned for more from 13 Action News after the break, and check us out anytime here on KTNV Streaming. Las Vegas news on your time.